Hello everyone, welcome to Anita's Online Academy. Today in class 10 Science, we are continuing with the chapter Life Processes. And in this chapter, today we are taking topic the transport. Transport, as you all know, to carry something from one place to another place. This is known as transport. When we talk about biology, their transport means to carry some substances which are made or absorbed in one part of our body to all the other parts of our body. Now, why the transport is required? It is hidden in its definition itself that I have told you just now, that in biology transport means to carry the substances which are made in one part or absorbed in one part of our body to another part. So like we have discussed respiratory system before this topic. So in respiratory system we come to know that oxygen enters in our body. Which part of body the oxygen enter? Into the lungs, into the air sacs. Okay, so the air enters into lungs and from there the oxygen has to be carried to all the parts. In the same way, the food is digested into digestive system, in stomach and in intestine. So the digested food also needs to be carried to all the parts of all the parts of our body. In the same way, all the parts of body, they undergo respiration by which carbon dioxide and water is produced. Carbon dioxide needs to be carried back to lungs. Also by various vital processes. Vital processes means various activities which take place inside our body, like respiration, excretion, digestion, etc. During those processes, these processes are called vital processes, because of which we are alive. All the processes because of which we are alive, they are called vital processes or vital activities. So when these vital activities take place in our body, some chemical reactions take place, and as a result of those chemical reactions, many harmful substances are produced, which are also called toxic substances. So these toxic substances or harmful substances are produced in all the parts of body, but they are to be collected from all the parts of body so that they can be thrown out of the body through a particular part of our body. So again, these waste products also needed to be carried to their destination. So in this way, there are so many substances. There are hormones. Hormones are produced in endocrine glands, which are located on a particular place in our body, and the hormones which are secreted, they are to be taken to various parts of body. So there are so many things, so many substances which need to be taken from one part of our body to all the other parts or wherever they are required. So for that, in this way the transport is done. So for that there should be a system which does all this work of transport. So this system is called circulatory system. So how can we define the circulatory system? Circulatory system is the system which is responsible for transport of various substances from any one part of our body to all the parts of our body. Okay, or it is responsible for collection of various substances. So in short, we can say circulatory system is the system which is responsible for transport of various useful and waste products from various parts of our body to various another parts of our body. This is called circulatory system. So children, transport takes place in all the living beings, whether they are plants, whether they are small organism, whether they are big animals, or whether they are human beings. So today I want to take circulatory system in human beings first, and later we will discuss into plants and small organism, because right now in your brain, in your mind, the digestive system and respiratory system are fresh. So you will be able to understand it better. And one more thing, in my last video in respiratory system, I had drawn all the diagrams before I could record the video. For the to make the video of a small duration, so that the video may not go long, but I thought it was not the correct thing. So let the video be long, or let it be in two parts, but I will draw diagram here, and I request you all to take your notebook and pencil and eraser. Don't try to draw with pen, because at some places we have to erase something to, you will find that at some places I will have to erase the things. So please try to draw it with pencil only. At whenever you think it is necessary, you can pause the video and see. So first of all, before I go to the diagram, let us understand circulatory system in human beings. So I should write here human circulatory system. So please take your notebook, pen, pencil and eraser. And now let's start human circulatory system. Children, human circulatory system, which is responsible for transport of various substances in our body, can be divided into three parts for the convenience of our studies. Number 1, heart. Number 2, blood. And number 3, blood vessels. After discussing all these parts, we will discuss about various terms like blood pressure, heartbeat, pulse rate, etc. So first of all, let us begin with heart. So when we talk about any organ in our body, we need to know where is it located. So location you all know very well. Still, let's repeat. A heart is located in our thoracic cavity, and in my previous video I have told you that what is thoracic cavity. If it is our body, then I have drawn this way. This is the chest, upper part. Here are your hands. Upper part, this chest part, this is called thoracic cavity. And lower part is called abdominal cavity. Abdominal cavity, in which we generally call stomach in common terms, but actually stomach is located somewhere here. Okay, so no problem, that is a common term. In biology we will call the chest part as thoracic cavity, and the part lower part will be called abdominal cavity, and these two cavities are separated from each other with the help of a muscular structure which we have discussed in respiratory system. What is that? You must remember, it is diaphragm. So diaphragm separates the thoracic cavity and the abdominal cavity. Now we come to the location of heart. Heart is located in your thoracic cavity. Heart is located in thoracic cavity between two lungs, and it is slightly in left side. So what is the location of heart? In thoracic cavity, that means chest cavity, in thoracic cavity between lungs, slightly in left side. That means it is closer to your left lung. Got it? So this is the location of heart. Heart is said that it is approximately of a fist size. This is your fist. So heart is of about fist size, and it is located in thoracic cavity between two lungs, slightly in left side. Heart, how is it protected? It is protected by a membrane called pericardium. Pericardium. As I had told you, in case of lungs also there was a membrane called pleural membrane which protects it as well as it helps in movement also. So in the same way, heart is also protected by a membrane called pericardium. Now we come to the structure of heart. So I am going to draw a diagram here. You can also copy it, and at times you can pause the video so that you can draw it very well. So first let me tell you roughly, then we will draw the detailed diagram. Here is your heart. This is only rough diagram that we can see from outside. Here it is your pericardium. Okay, so your heart is made up of 4 chambers. Okay, upper 2 are known as auricles and lower 2 are known as ventricles. Okay, auricles collect blood from various parts, whereas ventricles supply blood to various parts. Auricles collect the blood, ventricles supply the blood. So let us see the structure. I am going to draw the internal structure of heart now. So I will need this whole board and I am going to rub all these things. A box, a small box, and then this type of structure. Okay, now leave it here, then draw like this. Again this side also this type of growth. Then give it this shape. Okay, now here draw some columnar structures like this, and now continue this structure here. It should be slightly inclined in one side. Okay, then some muscles. Here also it should be attached to both the structures, these muscles. Here, so this way you can complete it. To make it clearer, I am using a pink chalk. Okay, this is not actually the color of heart. Just to make the diagram clear, I am using different kinds of different colored chalks. Uh, that's why I had asked you that you should have eraser with you, eraser and pencil. Don't try to draw it with pen. Okay, this is a node and one more node to be drawn here, and two bundles of fibers coming out from this node. I hope it is clear. This is a node and it is giving out two bundles, and from these bundles various fibers which are scattered all over the lumen of the ventricles, inside the lumens of ventricles. They are, children, they are not touching these fibers, but they are in walls. See, these fibers are inside the lumen, okay, but these are in the walls. The fibers which are coming from here and they are scattered here, they are inside the walls. So don't think that they are attached to these fibers. In diagram it can be shown like this only, but they are not attached to these fibers. Okay, you can branch them anyway, it is your choice. After giving various fibers all over the lumen of the ventricle, these fibers will move into outer wall of ventricles like this, and again there will be their branches. Okay, now more complicated structures are still there. Let us see. Just a minute. So adjust it like this. Now other structures needs to be adjusted here. This way. Okay, now from this side also these are big aortas that I will explain you later. For now we have to concentrate on diagram. Let us adjust it a little so that you can know how all the structures are located. Yeah, it is not adjusted. Wait a minute. Take it slightly lower. Let me draw it first, then it will be better. Otherwise, you will not understand the structure of this part. Okay, now it is adjusted. Take it slightly inwards here. Okay, its story is done. Now this one. The thing is, it is crossing this structure. Okay, from this part it has to shown crossed. Now it's done. Okay, children, and this part or this aorta is moving behind the heart. Like this is your heart, and this structure is coming out from heart and then going backward. Okay, so now this is going backward, so we cannot see it, but with dotted line I have roughly drawn its position behind the heart, and then finally it will cross the heart and will be seen like this. After crossing the heart, it will be seen like this. Children, we have drawn these tubes and I have cut them here. They are very long, but we have drawn only small portion of these tubes or these blood vessels. So they have been shown like this. It doesn't mean that this is only their length. They are all are very lengthy. Now to make your diagram attractive, you can you can shade them a little. You can shade these structures with pencil. So it will look beautiful. After all, it is a matter of heart, and heart should look beautiful, no? So here is your beautiful heart, which is really very useful. Okay. Now, as I told you earlier, that when you draw any diagram, you have to write here that what is shown in this diagram. Write figure, FIG in short, double dot, single dash, then structure of human heart. Human heart. And now underline it. Done? Got it? Okay. Now let us label this diagram. Heart is made up of 4 chambers, and yes, some more structures are here. It seems to be very complicated, but it is not very complicated. And how can heart be so simple? So it seems to be complicated, but if you do practice, you will never have any problem. And you must do the practice. When you do the practice of diagrams, children, you have to do the practice of diagrams only, and later on all the points you can write on the basis of diagrams. So in biology, it is important that you should do more and more practice of diagrams instead of entering the points which are given by teachers. And one more important thing here, children, because now these vessels are coming out from here, that means these parts of the walls will not be visible to us. Okay, so I am going to erase these parts, and you also have to do so. That's why the eraser and pencil are needed for drawing this diagram and all the diagrams. Why should we so lazy? Why should we be so lazy that we cannot erase our mistakes and let them be in diagram, or we just draw it with pen and let the mistakes be over there? No, don't do that. Still, there are no online exams, and we are writing on pen and paper. We should not leave the habit of drawing the diagrams. Okay, now this structure. I have told you that upper chambers are known as auricles or atrium. So see, children, this is my right hand. So this part of heart which is opposite to right hand is right part, and which is opposite to left part is your left part. The part which is opposite to left hand is left part. The part of heart which is opposite to right hand is right part. So this is right part and that is left part. So here it is right auricle, and auricle can also be called atrium. Then this is right ventricle. Then this is left auricle, and this is left ventricle. Now let us draw various structures related to right auricle, and we will move this way, that first upper part then lower part, so no labeling will be missed. So in right auricle you can see 3 veins are opening. Veins, when they are the largest veins are the blood vessels which collect blood from all the parts of our body, which we will discuss in blood vessels. So the largest veins are known as vena cava, and the plural is vena cavi. So these are 3 vena cavi which are opening into right auricle. So these are in anterior part of heart, and this is posterior part of heart. So these are called anterior vena cavi or pre-vena cavi. Cavi is plural. Okay. Then this is posterior vena cava. Anterior vena cava collect blood from anterior parts of body, means the parts which are anterior or which are above the heart, and posterior vena cava collect blood from posterior parts of body, that is the parts which are below heart. Okay, So this is posterior vena cava, then left auricle, right auricle. Then these two auricles are separated from each other with a wall that I had drawn earlier, or a septum. Wall can be called as septum. So this septum, because it is between two auricles, it will be called interauricular septum or interatrial septum. So whenever there is something between two, inter word is used. Whenever something is inside something, then intra word is used. So here this septum is between two auricles. So this septum is called inter, that is between auricular, interauricular septum. As the name indicates, it is the septum between two auricles. So it is called interauricular septum. In the same way, let us see these structures also. These are the openings of pre-vena cava into the right auricle. This is the opening of post vena cava or posterior vena cava into the right auricle. And there is a valve. Valve is something which control opening and closing of some structure, that is called a valve. So this valve controls the opening and closing of these three vena cava. Okay, so sometimes it covers this one, sometimes it covers this one, sometimes it covers this one, and allows sometimes it allows blood to come from a particular vena cava. At the same time, it is not allowing blood to come from another vena cava. This way, this valve controls the three openings of vena cava, and this valve is known as Eustachian valve. This is called Eustachian valve. Okay. Now you can see a node like structure here. This is a muscular node known as sinoauricular node. In short, it is called SA node, or it is also called pacemaker. Okay, pacemaker. We will discuss after completing the diagram. We will discuss all these structures in detail. Pacemaker is done. Now here you can see two openings. These can be called as auriculoventricular openings. Here is one opening, here is another opening. Okay, or there are valves which control them. They are called auriculoventricular valves. Okay. In the same way, now this is all about this auricles. Now we come to ventricles. This is right ventricle, this is left ventricle, and in between there is a wall. So what should be the name of this wall or septum? Interventricular septum. Interventricular septum. Then here is another muscular node which is known as auriculoventricular auriculo ventricular node, in short AV node. Okay, from this node two bundles are running downwards. These bundles are called bundles of His. Then they give out some fibers. These fibers are called Purkinje fibers. Okay, Purkinje fiber. Then okay, now these columnar structures, they are in the walls of ventricles. You can see the walls of ventricles are little thick, and they have been provided with some muscular columns. Okay, so these are columnar muscles, or you can write here, or muscular columns, which are made up of muscles. So walls are highly muscular, and from these muscular columns some muscles are given out. These muscles can be called chordae tendineae. These muscles are called chordae tendineae. These, okay, chordae tendineae. Then next comes, then this is dorsal aorta. I will tell you about dorsal aorta later. Wait a minute. First I have to write here once again, this is your left ventricle, and that is your right ventricle. Then see children, from this side, this is your right ventricle. I have written somewhere here, right ventricle. From right ventricle an artery is going out. Now what are arteries? Are the blood vessels which supply blood to various parts of body, and the largest or the biggest or the broadest arteries are known as aorta. Okay, aorta just come out from heart, and they divide into arteries, and they further divide into arterioles. So the biggest arteries which arise from heart, they are called aorta. So here it is aorta. This aorta is called pulmonary aorta. Pulmonary aorta. Okay, and then these are the pulmonary arteries. Aorta divided into arteries. Pulmonary arteries. And here is another aorta which can be called as carotidosystemic aorta, but because it is taking the shape of an arch, so it is called carotidosystemic arch. It can be called as carotidosystemic aorta also. Carotidosystemic aorta or carotidosystemic arch. Now this is all. Now this carotidosystemic aorta is taking a turn behind the heart, then it continues as dorsal aorta. Now it is called dorsal aorta. Now let us understand this whole structure. Children, how will you explain? The heart is divided into 4 chambers. Upper 2 are called auricles or atria, and lower two are called ventricles. Upper two, in upper portion there are two auricles. One is right auricle, other is left auricle. Then right ventricle and left ventricle. So while writing, you will write in this way that the heart is divided into four chambers. Number one, right auricle, left auricle. Number one, right auricle. Number two, left auricle. Number three, right ventricle, and number four, left ventricle. Number one, sorry, I have confused you. So listen to me once again. Heart is divided into four chambers. Number one, right auricle. Number two, left auricle. Number three, right ventricle. And number four, left ventricle. Now we talk about right auricle. In right auricle, three vena cava open into right auricle with separate openings. The openings of vena cava are guarded by or controlled by a valve called Eustachian valve. Okay. Then two auricles are separated from each other by interauricular septum. Now three vena cava have opened into right auricle, and there is another structure which is a muscular node called sinoauricular node, which is located slightly near the interauricular septum. Let me repeat so that it may be clear to you. Children, in upper part there are two auricles, right auricle, left auricle. These two auricles are separated from each other by a septum called interauricular septum. Three vena cava open into right auricle by three separate openings. These three separate openings of vena cava are controlled by Eustachian valve. There are two pre-vena cava or anterior vena cava which bring blood from all the parts above heart or from the anterior body parts, and posterior vena cava, this collects blood from all the posterior parts of body, that is the parts of body which are behind the or below the heart. Okay, now this is done. Then there is a muscular node called sinoauricular node or SA node or pacemaker. What is its function? That it contracts, and where it is located? It is located near near interauricular septum. Actually, a wave of contraction arises from here. When this muscular node contracts, all the walls of auricles contract. That we will see in mechanism. So this is called pacemaker, and it is very necessary to bring about the contraction of auricles. So in short, a muscular node is located near interauricular septum, and this muscular node creates the wave of contraction. Okay, it produces the wave of contraction by which both the auricles contract. So this is all about right auricle. Now we come to left auricle. One structure is left behind here. Here you have to draw these two veins. Let me use the blue color for veins, so it will be easy for you to understand. Because in that side also vena cava we have drawn with blue color. So here also I will use blue color. Children, these are pulmonary veins, and wherever pulmonary word is used, you should automatically understand that this has been used for lungs. So these two are pulmonary veins which are coming from lungs. Got it? Let's continue. In left auricle, two pulmonary veins open which come from lungs of their own side. Okay, means this will take a turn and go to its own side lung, and this will go to its own side, lung. So these two will carry blood from lungs. Okay. So when children, these two veins are exception. How they are exception? Because all the other veins, we can say all the other veins in our body, they collect impure blood or the blood which is deoxygenated or which does not have oxygen. That type of blood is called impure blood. So they collect, all the veins collect impure blood from all the body parts, and all the arteries supply pure blood or oxygenated blood to all the parts of body. So here these two pulmonary veins are coming from lungs, but as the name indicates that they are veins, that means they should bring impure blood, but it is not so. Pulmonary veins are exception. They carry pure blood from lungs to heart. That is the blood in which oxygen is mixed. While discussing the respiratory system, we had discussed that oxygen, the air is filled in air sacs, and then pressure is created on the walls of air sacs. As a result, oxygen from air diffuses into the blood, which is filled in blood capillaries, and then this oxygenated blood will be supplied to all the parts of body, that I had told you. Now how is it supplied? That oxygenated blood from lungs comes to this left auricle via these two pulmonary veins. So because these two pulmonary veins are carrying oxygenated blood, that is pure blood, so they are exception. In case of they are exceptional veins, you can say. How they are exceptional veins? Because they are carrying pure blood. But why they are still called veins? Because they are bringing blood from some organ. So whichever blood vessels bring blood from other body parts to heart, they are called veins. And pulmonary veins are also bringing blood from other body part, that is from lungs, so they can be called veins only. What is the exceptional thing? That they carry pure blood. Okay. Now, by this discussion, you could understand that blood is means impure blood is poured into right auricle and pure blood is poured into left auricle. Up to this, I think it is clear. Then, when these, now we come to structures of ventricles. Right auricle opens into right ventricle, left auricle opens into left ventricle via this auriculoventricular openings. They open, means auricles open into ventricles of their own side by means of via auriculoventricular openings, and these auriculoventricular openings are guarded by auriculoventricular valves. There are some valves which guard these openings, and these are called auriculoventricular valves. Okay. Now come to ventricles. Ventricles are also two, right and left, and they have very thick walls, thick and muscular walls. And as you can see, there is interventricular septum which separates the two ventricles. It is slightly inclined, that's why this one right ventricle is a little smaller as compared to left ventricle. Now children, this wall or this septum, which is called interventricular septum, just at the top of this septum, or you can say just at the bottom of the interauricular septum, or you can say at the junction of interauricular septum and interventricular septum. At the bottom of what am I telling? Let me repeat. At the bottom of interauricular septum, or at the top of interventricular septum, or at the junction of interauricular septum and interventricular septum, there is a muscular node called auriculoventricular node or AV node. This is a muscular node. From this muscular node, two bundles of muscles are given out which run throughout the length of this this interventricular septum. So this is inside the septum. Got it? And then after this interventricular septum is ended, then they move into outer walls of ventricles, and everywhere they give out some muscular fibers from them. These two bundles are called bundles of His. So from auriculoventricular node, two bundles of muscles are given out which are known as bundles of His, and from bundles of His many muscular fibers are given out all over to all the parts of the ventricles, or I should say into the walls of ventricles. These muscular fibers are given into the walls of ventricles. As a result, the walls of ventricles become highly muscular. Besides that, the inner wall of ventricles have some columns made up of muscles which are called muscular columns, and these they can be called as columnar muscles also, or muscular columns. From these muscular columns, some muscle fibers are given out which control the closing and openings of various valves. So one type of valves we have already discussed, auriculoventricular valves. There are some other type of valves also there which we will discuss just now. For now, you can say in the inner wall, the inner walls of ventricles are folded in the forms of muscular columns, and these muscular columns give out some muscular fibers which are known as chordae tendineae. In both the ventricles, these chordae tendineae are there, and they control the opening and closing of various valves in heart. Okay, got it? Now now let us see that which arteries are given out from the ventricles. And as I told you earlier, the biggest arteries are known as aorta. Aorta divide into arteries, then arteries divide into arterioles, and lastly the arterioles will divide into blood capillaries. In the same way, in case of veins, the largest or the broadest or the widest veins will be called vena cava. Vena cava will divide into veins, and veins will divide into venules, and finally the capillaries will be there. Now children, from these ventricles, two main aorta are given out. Number one, from right ventricle, this big aorta arises which is known as pulmonary aorta. As the name indicates, it is related to lungs, and because it is aorta, I have told you arteries are supposed to supply blood. So naturally this aorta, that is pulmonary aorta, will take blood to lungs. How will it take blood to lungs? That this pulmonary aorta, which is coming out from right ventricle, after leaving the heart, it will divide into two parts. One will go into this side, this is right side, into right lung, and other will go into left lung. And these two, because they are arising from an aorta, they are called arteries. Pulmonary arteries are going to lungs. And children, as you know that in right auricle impure blood is filled. So from right auricle only impure blood will go to ventricles. So right ventricles are also filled with impure blood or deoxygenated blood, or blood which does not have oxygen into it. Okay, this is called deoxygenated blood. It has carbon dioxide into it. So children, this blood from here will go to pulmonary aorta. From pulmonary aorta, the pulmonary arteries will take this deoxygenated blood to lungs. Now the question arises, just a few minutes before I had told you that arteries supply pure blood to all the parts of body, but they are carrying impure blood. So again, same as pulmonary veins, pulmonary arteries are also exception. Okay, so these arteries will carry this impure blood to all to lungs, and in lungs it will get oxygenated. In lungs it will get oxygenated, and again this oxygenated blood will come via pulmonary veins. Okay, so these pulmonary arteries take deoxygenated blood to lungs. Done. Now left ventricle. From left ventricle, carotidosystemic arch is given out, which is also a big aorta, and it gives out many arteries, and all the arteries supply blood to anterior parts of body. Then it takes a turn and moves behind the heart, and then after leaving the heart, it runs throughout the length of our body, and then from this, at that time, now it is called dorsal aorta. Earlier it was called carotidosystemic arch. It turns behind the heart. This is your heart. This is your heart, or let the hand be the heart. This is the heart. Auricles, ventricles. Okay. From this ventricle, carotidosystemic arch will go behind the heart, and then it will move downwards. So when it will move downwards behind the heart, here after leaving the heart area, this will be called dorsal aorta, and it will run throughout the length of the body, and there it will give many arteries to all the parts, and like all the parts like stomach, intestine, kidneys, everywhere it will give its branches called arteries, and they will supply blood to their respective organs. Okay, done. Now let us see the mechanism. How does this heart work? 3 vena cava pour blood into right auricle, and 2 pulmonary veins pour 3 vena cava pour impure blood collected from various parts into right auricle, and 2 pulmonary veins pour pure blood brought from lungs into the left auricle. When right auricle and left auricle are fully filled with blood, a wave of contraction arises from sinoauricular node, and immediately this wave of contraction spreads into all the walls of auricles, and as a result the auricles contract with pressure. When auricles contract with pressure, the valve between auricles and ventricles opens. As a result, the blood, that is impure blood from right auricle, is poured into right ventricle, and pure blood from left auricle is poured into left ventricle. When all this thing is done, after that what happens? Now auricles are empty and ventricles are full of blood. So these ventricles, when they are full of blood, a wave of contraction arises from auriculoventricular node, that is AV node, and immediately through bundles of His and Purkinje fibers, this wave of contraction spreads into all the walls of ventricles, and both the ventricles contract with pressure. As a result, valves that control pulmonary artery and carotidosystemic aorta, those valves will open, and as a result, with pressure, impure blood will be pumped. When something goes up, it is called pumping. So impure blood will be pumped with pressure from right ventricle to pulmonary arteries, and pure blood will be pumped with pressure into carotidosystemic arch. While this blood is being pumped into these two aorta, the valves which control the opening between auricles and ventricles, they remain closed. So blood which is pumped will not go to auricles. It will go to these two aorta only. Now the blood which has been pumped into pulmonary aorta will be carried, it is impure blood, will be carried to lungs for purification or for oxygenation, and the blood which is pumped into carotidosystemic arch will be distributed, will be supplied to all the parts of body. Okay, now how all these things take place? See children, while auricles are contracting, the ventricles are getting filled with blood. Okay, and when ventricles are contracting, while ventricles are contracting, at the same time auricles are getting relaxed. They are getting relaxed means they are filled with blood. This one with impure blood and this one is with pure blood. When there is contraction in ventricles, at the same time there is relaxation in auricles, and when there is contraction in ventricle and blood is pumped into two aorta, within that period of time these two become full of blood again. And once the ventricles are empty, till the ventricles are empty, the auricles are full of blood. So now auricles will contract. So when auricles will contract, the ventricles will relax and the blood will be poured into ventricles. Again from ventricles the blood will be pumped and the ventricles are contracting, auricles are relaxed. Now these auricles will be filled with blood. So this way our heart works continuously, 24/7. Continuously our heart works. Muscles of heart never take any rest. If the muscles of heart take rest, that means we also have to take rest forever. Okay, so this is all about the structure of heart, and in my next video we will discuss about blood and blood vessels. Thank you.